God puts something in every parent, every grandparent, that you see success and victory and winning in their future. You see the possibilities, right? They're vague, but you see just greatness in them. And it's so important that their last mistake in your current circumstance doesn't block your view of who they are. Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, and I'm joined in studio with Coach Mia.
Thanks, Seth.
And we have a new table.
We do.
And kind of a new angle. We've got like the side profile.
I don't know about the side profile.
Showing off the pipes.
No.
I'm showing off my profile of my forehead. And my kids, this is the funny thing, because my kids just make fun of me. They're like, Dad, you got the biggest dome. So I'm showing that off a little bit on this one. So we're both having fun.
Yeah, we are.
And, isn't this just the way life is, though? Because probably if we would have said nothing, nobody would have think of it. But if you mention it, like, we're all just self-conscious when we're in front of a camera.
Yeah.
So it's all good. But welcome to the show. If you're just tuning in for the first time, we're on a mission to change the face of education, sports, and culture. And for 19 years, we've developed curriculums and programs that get to the root issues. There's so many great programs that keep kids off the streets. There's not many programs that actually do the deep work to get to the root issues that actually creates momentum and change and transformation. That's what we do at 5-Star Life. You can learn more at 5starlife.org. But today we've got a great show. We just came off of a radiothon that was pretty incredible here a couple weeks ago.
That was probably the best radiothon we've ever had, I think.
It was just fun.
Yeah.
It was, I had so much fun with the 95.3 MNC DJs. I thought they were phenomenal. I think, the fact that it was our 13th one, there's just that synergy. Even though Laura Smith is new as a DJ, she just brings a great element to it.
She does. It was her heart. I mean, it really comes out in when she's speaking, and she was a great asset.
So, and I think the thing that drove it was just the stories. The stories of impact. And that is exactly what this show is going to be. It's going to be a little bit of a recap. If you missed the radiothon, that you're going to enjoy this because it's just going to be stories of impact. Just a reminder before we dive in, if you have never subscribed to this show, and if you're just listening to it by radio, you can actually listen to this anywhere podcasts are streamed. You can also watch this on YouTube. So it's called The 5-Star Life with Coach Seth. Okay, so if you look on a podcast, you look at YouTube, go to the 5-Star Life YouTube page. It's called The 5-Star Life with Coach Seth. So we'll dive into this.
Let's go.
We're going to hear from Mary. We had the chance to sit down and interview, who is a grandmother. Isn't it amazing the strength of these grandmothers?
Every time I hear a grandparent raising their grandchildren, I mean, I just think of my grandchildren. It's a lot. I mean, you're older, and to go back there, I mean, it is incredible what they do.
Yeah. So I'm going to let her tell the story. So she's going to start off right here, telling her story about how she heard of 5-Star and why they were in it.
Well, I was at the JJC and not knowing what my next step was going to be because I've tried therapy sessions, I've tried skill trainers to help Jeffrey, my grandson, with his anger issues and just lashing out at everything. And so she mentioned that there was a SNAP program that we could participate in. And I'm like, I'm open to whatever you've got because I've tried it all so far that I can think of. So I was open for anything. And she suggested it, and I talked to Jeffrey about it. He was very hesitant, but I told him that he had to do it. So then he's like, okay, I'll do it. And then we went, and it just really worked for us.
What were you expecting the program to be?
To be honest with you, they said it's classes, and we're gonna it'll help us. And I'm thinking there's no way that going to classes is going to make a difference. I just could not see that happening. And I was completely blown away when we ended the first session and he told me, whispers in my ear, I want to do it again.
Oh.
So again, if you're just listening to this, you're like, she mentioned the SNAP program. What is that? We've talked about it on this program before, but we're in the middle of a partnership between the South Bend Police Department, the Juvenile Justice Center of South Bend, the local detention center, and 5 Star Life. And they asked us, would you create a program for kids who get into minor trouble? And the offense is not strong enough to send them into detention, but they know that within a short amount of time, they're going to end up in the system. So we want to divert them from the system. So it's called a diversion program. That's how she found out about 5 Star Life, and that's the program she's talking about, the 5 Star Life program, which, by the way, has an 89% success rate.
That's awesome.
Which is just phenomenal. 89% success at diverting kids from the system. It's a 6-week program where kids come into the program, but the cool thing is the parents, or in this case, the grandparents, are also a part of the program. And we go through our curriculum. We split for conversation. So adults are having adult conversation, boys have conversation, girls have conversation. So pretty powerful.
And it's changing families.
It's changing families. So she goes into this next clip. She talks a little more about the impact this has had on her grandson, Jeffrey, and really some of the issues that caused him to get into this in the first place.
He was bullied by his dad when he was a toddler. And I got Jeffrey when he was 4 years old. And he would have just outbursts of anger or just very emotional. And we knew where it came from, and from preschool, we had him in to therapy. We had done some treatment programs up at Michiana Behavioral Healthcare. He was in residential for 6 months, and nothing was helping. Nothing was helping. It was always the same old thing. He couldn't complete a day of school without having some kind of outburst, or he would start throwing things in class and damaging computers and things and just bullying other kids. And it just was very overwhelming and frustrating. And this is our grandchildren. We're supposed to enjoy, and this is supposed to be a fun time. And it was a real struggle. It was a real struggle.
There's so many grandparents, so many parents that are right there. Like you said, you don't think about, you think about your grandkids, think about taking them for ice cream and spoiling them and,
And giving them back. I mean, that's
Yes.
what being a grandparent is.
Right. So, the fact that Mary is doing all she's doing, fighting for her grandson, is just so cool. I want to shift gears here, and I want to get to where he starts to win. I want you to hear from her how she talks about the change in his life.
We tried. Like I said, we've tried a lot of different programs, but just, I guess nothing really grabbed hold until we were in 5 Star. And having the support for the parents as well as the kids, I needed that so much. I was so lost. I wanted to do the right things. I thought I was doing the right things. But also, you get caught up in that moment, and it's like, what do I do? So being able to have a group that you could go and you could talk to and you could get other people's ideas and find new ways to look at things and not get so overwhelmed and know that there's hope was just so good. It was, my shoulders were finally relieved of all the burden that I've been carrying around. It's like finally some people that understand what I'm going through, and was able to share their situations and my situation and mesh it together where we could find a way that it would work. And it did for Jeffrey. He's doing really well. He's getting A's and B's in school.
Yes.
He's completing when we first started the program, he was only doing a partial day. He was going until like 11:30. And then we got it expanded to about 12:30. And now he's doing a full day.
That's a win right there.
Oh my gosh.
And because I had the opportunity to walk through this process with them. You hear it in her voice, but you can physically see just the weight lift off her shoulders. You could see her each week just getting lighter and lighter as Jeff is starting to win in life. And you can see him change. I mean, the visual appearance, right?
Really?
His eyes, right? He's looking up. He's happy. It's just so cool to watch that happen. And again, this grandmother is so engaged in the process, and I think we hear all the negative stories. We want to spotlight the positive stories. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
Did you know that you can bring the values, lessons, and mindsets Coach Seth discusses on the 5 Star Life podcast to your local community? Schools are searching for programs and content that work. Just a simple introduction to your teacher or principal could be a game changer in your community. Inquire at 5starlife.org and someone from our team will be in touch.
Welcome back to the 5 Star Life Show. I am Coach Seth, and I'm joined in the studio with Coach Mia.
Thanks, Seth.
And we're having a fun show because we're just really kind of wrapping up the Radiothon. We had a great fundraiser event. 95.3 MNC is so generous, and they allow us for 2 days just kind of take over the airwaves and share the stories of impact that we have. And so we thought we kind of, give this whole show to following up and making sure the rest of the world that missed the Radiothon can hear just a few of these stories of change and impact. We were just hearing from Mary, a grandmother in our SNAP program, the diversion program, and she was just starting to talk about the impact this had on her grandson, Jeff. We had to stop it short, so I'm going to pick it up right where we left off.
And now he's doing a full day.
Wow.
Nice.
From going to school for a couple hours
Yeah.
a day to full school day, A's and B's.
A's and B's, and he comes home. He's not angry. He's not have any issues at school. He's not picking on other kids. He's laughing. He's best friends with the support people at school, and it's just he's building positive relationships.
What if you could pinpoint, what was the turning point? Was there a turning point, or was it just the process that we had?
I think it's just the whole process. I think, he was with kids that also had issues, and being able to have that time himself to talk about stuff with people that are safe and aren't going to judge him. I think it helped build his character and his toolbox for what he needed to use in life.
So from going to school for just a couple hours because he was he was getting in trouble, he was fighting other kids, he was just unruly, right? He was a problem. To now working it up to going for a half a day and then 3/4 and then a full day. Now A's and B's. I mean, that's just phenomenal. And so often I hear people talk about bad kids. I just saw this on social media last weekend, and they're talking. It was like one of those situations where kids were doing bad things online, like whatever, violent things or just rude things to people in shopping places. And somebody commented on social media like, they're just bad kids. And I mean, I know their behavior's bad. There's no bad kids. There's some kids with some bad behavior, but that's coming from somewhere, from someplace. If you don't address the root issue, you're going to keep having bad behavior. But if you don't address that root issue, the bad behavior continues, and we as a society just think, well, there's good people and bad people. And we just have a lot of bad kids. It's like, no, We have to step in and start to change the culture. And one of the things that we do to address that is the parents are starved for support. It's hard being a parent. And I think people that are not parents or were parents in a different generation, I really think they need to take a step back off of their soapbox or pedestal, because I know kids are kids, but nobody has ever had to raise kids in a situation like this where they have constant distraction and noise and the political culture. And I mean, there's so much going on. Parents are starved for support. And this is really what Mary talks about in this next clip. She actually wanted the support.
I was starved for information and help. And I feel like that was it was very engaging going to these classes, and I learned so much, and I don't feel overwhelmed. I feel like I've got tools to use to get me through whatever comes up. And also going through this last session that we had, it was about achieving goals, and I've helped strengthen my whole extended family unit, and I'm going back to church, and my husband and I are going together, and Jeffrey's not quite to that spot yet, but our family is coming together really, really good.
Love that.
I do too. And you know, our program is amazing, but the true heroes are these parents and grandparents that are taking the step and, you know, coming to the program and bringing their children.
Yeah, and they're doing the heavy lifting. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're a resource, we're a guide, we're kind of almost like a mirror where, you know, just giving them a little bit of margin from the craziness to step out of everything that's going on and to hold a mirror up just to say, okay, this is where you are. They start to see it clearly. They're super sharp. I mean, the myth is that these are just ignorant people and, you know, they're just low life, or, I mean, I hear these things. I'm just like, you have it totally wrong. These people are incredible, but they're going through it. And I think if you've never been through it, you can't understand that.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. They're the heroes. In this idea that parents, you know, don't want to learn or don't want to grow or don't want to change, it just hasn't been our experience. Now, it's hard to grow. It's hard to learn. It's hard to change. I think the thing that Five Star Life does well is we just create an environment that's, you know, conducive to growth and change.
And I go back to it, but and they show up. Because, you know, today's society, if you don't show up, it's really common. It's like, it's okay. But everybody wants to change, but these folks are actually putting in the work. And
yeah, so in like the data points, 89% success rate. Mm-hmm. The interesting thing is we would be at 96%, 97% success rate. But the kids who, you know, went back, they reoffended, like 85% of those was because their parents did not get them there consistently. They didn't finish the program. Mm. So to your point, they're engaged. They're sacrificing. I mean, these people, I talked to a mom just a couple weeks ago who, you know, she's working multiple jobs, and to go to 5 Star, she has to, you know, cut hours. That's money. When you're a single parent, I mean, it is tight. And I don't think people understand, like, this is these people want it, right?
And some of them also have younger siblings, so you have to find childcare. I mean, I'm telling you, what these people do to get there is amazing.
It is. And it's why they're seeing success, because they're in it to win it, mm-hmm. and their kids are responding.
It's awesome.
All right. So, you know, I hope our listening audience enjoyed kind of that journey, that path. We're going to share some more stories from some other families throughout this show. But I want to turn the page a little bit and just give people a reminder that we actually have a 5-Star Life Golf Open coming up the end of June. You can go to our website, look on social media. We have all that information there. But if you're a golfer and you live locally, grab a foursome and come learn more about 5-Star Life. Come support us through the 5-Star Life Golf Open. We have some special guests. We are not announcing yet. We have some special guests every year that come. I really think people are going to be excited to interact with our special guests this year. Last year we had Tyler Brown.
We did.
Who, victim of gun violence 2.5 years ago, was shot in the head tragically. We talked about it on this show. And miraculously fought back, fully recovered, finished, he's just about finished with his senior year, played basketball at St. Joe. They made a run to the championship game, lost in the state championship. And Tyler played last weekend in the All-Star game.
Oh,
he's invited to play in the All-Star game.
Awesome.
Just incredible resilience, that kid. And his mom. Speaking of moms and parents, just incredible resilience.
She's another one. She put in the work. I mean, she fought for him. He's alive because of his mom.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, you can check all that information out at 5starlife.org. Get involved. I also want to encourage you, if you have watched this show more than once and you enjoyed it, would you do us a favor and share this with some friends, some family, some coworkers? Just hit the share button, send it to them. And if you are not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. If you haven't liked this yet, like it. That helps us. It's a really simple kind of way to help the algorithms push our information out there a little further. So really appreciate that. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back after this.
5-Star Life offers year-round programs for kids at our 350-acre training facility that we call Summit. These programs focus on 3 core components. First, each program includes lessons from our curriculum that targets kids' mindset. Secondly, each program teaches a skill like equine, archery, blacksmithing, basketball, fishing, boating, and many more. Thirdly, our programs connect kids to mentors we call coaches, who are trained to help kids live a 5-star life. Go to 5starlife.org to learn more or sign up your kids.
Welcome back to the 5-Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, and I'm joined in studio with Coach Mia.
Hey, Seth.
We're having a blast here, just kind of highlighting some of the stories we shared on our radiothon. And we're going to continue with Erica, another SNAP mom who engaged in our program. Incredible woman. She's got a story, though, and we're going to let her share that story.
I experienced gun violence in 2016, July 31st. I was with my daughter's father, and it wasn't the healthiest relationship. It was violent. It was abusive. And we're going through child support court, and he wasn't happy with a lot of things. And he came over one night and knocked on the door, and my kids were home. They were in the back room, and he said he wanted to talk to me. And I said, okay, but he needed to use the restroom first. So it was like down the hallway from the living room area. And he came out, and I was sitting on the couch, and came behind me and shot me in the back of my head, like by my nape area. And at that time, I didn't know what had happened. It was just a loud noise, a loud sound, and I had fell to the ground, and I didn't know what to expect. Like, what happened? What just happened? Like, there's loud noise in my head, and that's all I can hear is like a ringing. And he had left, and then I was feeling my body. I felt cold. Didn't know where my phone was or anything, and I realized that my head was hurting and it was ringing, and I was like, I was shot.
Just never know somebody's story.
Oh my gosh.
Again, when you hear somebody or see somebody that's struggling with their kids, it's so, we always have like an answer. A lot of people have answers. Mm-hmm. And you just never know some of the stuff that may be creating some of the problems. You never know their story, their journey. And so it's always interesting to get a background of the families that we work with. They're coming from all kinds of different situations. She has obviously an incredible amount of strength. Single parent mom, got out of that violent situation, left Indianapolis, moved to South Bend to get away and seek refuge and healing and hope. So we're going to jump into the impact Five Star Life has had on her son.
5 Star absolutely helped us, me and my kids, in our journey. I have a son, and he was going through adolescence age, different things, and just he had some feelings of emotions and didn't know how to properly express them. And I would feel that it's attitude, it's disrespect. And I reached out for people to help me, reached out to the JJ Juvenile Justice Center for help and just the outlet or to find some type of positive reinforcement for him, because I felt that he was going down maybe the wrong path. And we were just butting heads and just, it was bad. It was getting bad. So they gave me a referral to the 5 Star program. And we were just apprehensive, not knowing what to expect, not knowing what it was. And that day, stepping in there and hearing that, conflict resolution. And that was a thing that we bumped heads on, conflict resolution. And it's not kind of what you say, it's how you say things. And I realized that I would be offended on some of the things that my son said just because how I felt based on my feelings. And I would feel that he wasn't being respectful to me, and that caused clashing, but not also listening to him too and asking questions. And he's sometimes very humble to himself, and sometimes I felt that was disrespectful, but that's how he responds to things. And so it helped us communicate by going to 5 Star, because I had a group of parents where I could talk to and had time. He had a group of young men that he can talk to and talk about things that he was going through. So it was like we had our time separate and then our time together to come together and see where we can build this from and where the problem lies and how to problem solve instead of having conflict. It brought us together, and it really saved our relationship as a mother and son.
Winning. She's winning. And they're still winning. So I asked a question. I said, so did it stick? And this is her response.
It has stuck. It has stuck. I can talk to him and ask him questions like all the time. I ask him like, how was school? How was your day? Very engaging. It's very engaging now. If I ask him to clean the bathroom or do something, he does it. He does it well. And he actually changes things around in the bathroom. And I was like, wow, that is nice. I didn't even think that this little caddy here, moving that out would be a big difference, but it's nice, willingness to help out with the trash and to do things. And it's not to expect anything. It's just to hey, he's becoming a young man. He's becoming something great, a great man. So it's just young man. And it's just to see that growth from where it was at age, I would say 16, and now he's 18, is just kind of or he was 17 then, so 18, that year is just seeing that growth and development in him, and to see how our relationship has bettered from 5 Star, and just the certain things we implement as far as talks in the car, about different things. It's just it's a joy for me. It makes me feel good. It's yes, this is my son. This is how I want it to be. And sometimes things aren't okay, but we can reflect back to what we learned and say, hey, we need a better community. Hey, I respect your space. I respect that. Hey, this is a bad time. This is a bad, I'm not going to keep engaging you if you're upset. I respect that. I see that. So you have your time. I have my time. And then we can come together and say, hey, let's talk. Everybody has the cool down.
The fun part about these clips for me is I can just like picture the different lessons in our curriculum that she's talking about, how she's implementing them. Again, the brilliance of these parents, it's like they're sponges. And they're just like, yep, I'm going to learn it. I'm going to go do it. And it works, right?
One of the things that I've noticed is how she spoke about her son cleaning the toilet. He did it well. You know, he's going to be something great. And I'm like, man, parents, listen up. It is those small words that kids hear, other adults. I mean, everybody hears what you say about, you know, your children. And so.
I was just asked, I was on another podcast last week, and this is something we beat this drum in the SNAP program with parents all the time. But they asked me, what advice would you have to parents, grandparents raising teenagers? And I just said, number one, you have to understand that God gives parents, grandparents a vision for their kids' life. I'm not talking about controlling their lives and you have it all spelled out. I'm saying God puts something in every parent and every grandparent that you see success and victory and winning in their future. Right?
Yeah.
You see those bright, the possibilities, right? They're vague, but you see just greatness in them. And it's so important that their last mistake in your current circumstance doesn't block your view of who they are. When you start parenting out of who they are right now versus who they really are, who they will be, that is so disheartening to kids, because when you start to lose hope and faith in them, they can see it. They can feel it. And what do? They then will live to that new expectation. I'm not good, right?
Right, yeah.
So it's so simple, but so powerful. All right, we're going to take another quick break here. We'll wrap this show up. We're going to come back and share more of Erica's stories. She has some other nuggets to share about the impact it had on her as well. But thank you so much for tuning in. Again, we've got the Golf Open coming up at the end of June. We also have open enrollment programs starting. If you live in the Michiana area and you have kids or grandkids, go to our website. We have several open enrollment programs. We talk a lot in this program, but all the different programs that we have for schools or for a detention center. But we have programs for anybody and everybody, and the slots are going fast. Go to 5starlife.org to learn more.
Five Star Life offers year-round programs for kids at our 350-acre training facility that we call Summit. These programs focus on 3 core components. First, each program includes lessons from our curriculum that targets kids' mindset. Secondly, each program teaches a skill like equine, archery, blacksmithing, basketball, fishing, boating, and many more. Thirdly, our programs connect kids to mentors we call coaches, who are trained to help kids live a 5-star life. Go to 5starlife.org to learn more or sign up your kids.
Welcome back to the 5 Star Life Show. I'm your host, Coach Seth, and I'm joined with Coach Mia for our final segment. And
who wasn't ready? I'm sorry.
You weren't?
I'm ready
now.
now.
I thought you were doing something important on your phone, so I figured you were doing something. So I want to wrap this up. We're sharing stories. We have Erica, one of our 5 Star Life moms, who's just incredibly strong, victim of gun violence, domestic violence. I mean, she lived in an abusive relationship, and I don't know what that's like. I've read and met people that have been in that, and it's this really weird, twisted thing where this dependency on this person where it's hard to get out of. It's very manipulative, and she got out. Her son was going through some issues. She found 5 Star. She talks about that and how it's really saved her relationship with her son. But now I want you to hear her talk about really how the curriculum helped her.
It was like eye-opening, awakening for me. Like, wow, made me kind of like sit back and just like, I do that, but that's not right. So it was very eye-awakening and learning experience for me with the conversations and the conversations to have with him, to write down and see and go back and read and say, yes, this is me, and to set goals every week. It was just like, I didn't have that in my life. I didn't have a goal, an end goal, and to have an end goal is great, because once you accomplish that, it's a feel good moment. It's definitely a feel good moment. Like we made it through. We got this, and to be held accountable to that was great, and to see myself flourishing, that was even better, because I seen things that I was doing wrong or things that I wasn't doing, or that I can change on. And I did see the change in myself. I felt the change in myself. I felt like, wow, I'm learning to be a better mom, to be a better person, to have an open heart, to listen, to not feel that my way is the right way all the time, that I know all the answers because I'm an adult and I know everything, and to sit back and put myself in a 17-year-old's mindset and how I would want my parent to talk to me if I was 17, or to take it back to when I was 17, how did my parents talk to me? Was it out of loving? Was it out of care? And I feel that 5 Star has helped that tremendously.
She just said 5 Star gave her a goal, a target. When you're struggling, so often we're struggling because we're focused on the wrong things. All you see is the negative. And, our curriculum just helps them focus on, right, you want to stop some of the bad habits or whatever and break out of the cycle. But sometimes like, hey, can we focus on improving this one area? Like, can we focus on doing this one step right here? And when you change your focus point, it's like you can see the wins and you're not focusing on all the losing, all the negative, right? Because we as parents are prone to just be like, stop doing that. Instead of like, start doing this. And I'm going to lead the way as an example. And she bought into that.
And I think the brilliance of what we do, it's not a long, this is not going to take you a full year. You can make a change right away. And sometimes our only goal is to get through a day. But to add a little bit to that, it's empowering. Yeah.
No, there's some people that are just surviving. Yeah. And when they can come to 5 Star and get a little more perspective and step back from all the noise and just have one little focus point for the day or for the week, it's a game changer. We had a mom just about a month ago said this to me. She said, 5 Star changed my life just in a moment. There's one session that I had an epiphany, like, I'm in a cycle. Like, I have a negative perspective. I'm always negative. I complain about everything. Like, I've got to change. I'm going to start to look and focus on the positive. And it changed her life. So it's good stuff. And, as a parent, where do you turn when you're struggling? I don't know. You guys have daughters you've raised. You have adult daughters. Who did you talk to and where did you turn for support when your daughters were struggling, when your relationship was rocky?
Well, first of all, we had each other, which is important. And then, I had a support group, friends. We had friends, our church. So we had places to go.
It's important. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't have resources. Mm-hmm. Or even, a lot of people that we've talked to, they're at a church or they have some resources, but the people around them don't understand their situations, right? Mm-hmm. They just don't, they're like, they got the answers and they're like, yeah, I've tried that. And it's just kind of frustrating. So they almost throw up their hands and give up because nothing's worked. And so they come to us kind of limping in, skeptical. Even Mary voiced that a little bit, like, I thought, what are classes going to do for this? How are classes going to help? And the reality is, we just have some simple philosophies and some simple tools that they really work if you can show up and be engaged.
If you can show up.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that a part of life, though?
Yeah. But everybody wants, we want something to be instant. But you have to show up and you have to do the work.
Yeah. I'd like to show up and the work just gets itself done.
Right.
But that's not how it works. You have to show up. 1, you have to show up. 2, you then have to engage. Like, life it's work. But again, that goes back to mindset. You can enjoy it. You can cherish it. You can celebrate the opportunities you have each day, or it can all be drudgery. I can be drudging through the day, or I can be just excited about the day. It's such a perspective, right? It's such a mindset. We really do get bogged down with negativity. So good stuff.
It's great stuff.
These grandparents. So if you're tuning in, you're like, man, I'd like to learn more about the SNAP program. I'd like to volunteer, or I'd like to learn more. Reach out to us at 5starlife.org. We actually need more volunteers, Mia. So we have an opportunity to scale the program and reach more families. In St. Joe County, we're having discussions about Elkhart County. So we're looking for more volunteers, and we need people who can volunteer to coach a group of boys or coach a group of girls, or people that have been parents and you've been through it and you want to come alongside of them and support them. That's what we need right now. And we have training for all those positions, but go to 5starlife.org to learn more and get involved. Also, we need donations to help offset the cost of scaling these programs. We take them to Summit, our 350-acre innovative learning center. So we have so many things we do with those families that's so much fun.
It is fun. And, let's talk about volunteering, what you get out of when you're helping someone else, you forget about what's going on in your life to give to other people.
It's amazing. So our SNAP volunteers, all of our volunteers, not quite. Most of our volunteers have been there for 2 years at least since it started.
Wow.
And they just love it. One volunteer, just life work situation, had to step back for a little bit, but every volunteer just says, like, this feeds my soul. Because everybody cares. Everybody wants to make a difference. But it's hard to find a place where you can actually go and see the change and make a difference, right?
Right.
So there are so many opportunities with 5 Star Life to do that in so many ways. And I got to give a shout out to Richard, one of our faithful volunteers. This guy, I just can't stop thinking about this guy because he is the epitome, the poster child for a servant leader. He shows up every Friday for the last year and a half.
Oh, is it
2 years?
I think it's more than that.
A couple years.
Now, he also has a full-time job.
Yep. Shows up. He has Fridays off. So every Friday, he gives every Friday to 5 Star Life. He shows up, rain, shine, hail, snow, storm. He's there. And the reason I just think about him so much and I'm just so grateful for him is it's kind of interesting, but we are in this Western culture, and I'm not saying this is bad because I want people to find I've heard this, their shape, right?
Yeah.
Right. Where are you supposed to serve? What are your gifts? How can you use them? I'm all about that. But there's something that's been lost in our culture for the person that just says, just put me in this, I just want to help. So this guy is doing anything from cutting grass to working with kids to he last Friday he was with a kid that was special needs. He was wheeling him around a wheelchair. Like, he does anything and everything that's asked. And so he's done everything at 5 Star. Oh, awesome. And so I know that his soul is filled by that. We're out of time. It's been a great show. We could talk all day about this stuff. Thanks for tuning in. And just want to remind you, get involved. Be a part of the change, the transformation of 5 Star Life. And be sure to like this, subscribe to this, and share this. We'll see you next time.
At 5 Star Life, we are changing the face of culture through education and sports by changing the most important piece of a human being's life, their mindset. If you are interested in being a part of our journey, please visit 5starlife.org for more information on volunteer and donation opportunities.